Commander Jalen Rourke never imagined that the final day of the Horizons Reach expedition would begin with a royal marriage proposal, much less one from the ruler of a species humanity had only contacted 3 months ago. Yet here he was, standing in the crystalline throne hall of Velyria Prime, where the air shimmered like liquid silver and the entire structure seemed alive. The Valyrians were a breathtaking species, sleek, tall, iridescent, and adorned with feather-like tendrils that drifted in the air like elegant veils. They lived in cities carved from bioluminescent coral, healed their bodies with resonance crystals, and communicated with harmonic frequencies that made human speech seem dull by comparison. At the center of the throne hall sat Queen Alara, ruler of trillions across the Orion expanse. She wore a mantle grown from living silk flora that pulsed softly with blue light. Her gaze, luminous violet with shifting fractal pupils, fell directly on Jalen. "Commander Rourke," she said, her voice a melodic resonance that vibrated through the chamber, "step forward." Jalen swallowed. His ship's science officer, Dr. Mara Addison, gave him a quick, uneasy glance. "You'll be fine," she whispered, not sounding confident at all. Jalen stepped onto the luminous floor, his reflection rippling beneath him like water. "Your Majesty." Queen Alara rose, tall, graceful, alien yet undeniably regal. "We have examined your bravery, your resolve, and your capacity for harmony. We have reached a decision that will shape the fate of both our peoples." Behind her, the Valyrian royal court hummed in anticipation. A cloud of floating luminescent drones circled the chamber, recording everything. Several ambassadors from neighboring star nations were present, including the notoriously predatory Kalroth Dominion, watching like hungry hawks. Alara extended a hand toward Jalen. "Commander of Earth," she declared, "I choose you as my consort king. You will stand beside me, join our essences, and unite Velyria with humanity. You shall become protector of the expanse and father to the future royal lineage." The hall erupted into shimmering harmonic applause. Jalen's mouth went dry. He had expected a diplomatic award, not an interstellar royal proposal. Mara's face went pale. Admiral Sevik, the Earth diplomat, looked as if he might faint. The entire human delegation froze like malfunctioning androids. Queen Alara stepped closer, her presence radiant and overwhelming. "Earth is young among the stars. I offer you not mere alliance, but unity, an honor offered only once each millennium." Jalen tried to speak. Nothing came out. Then, "Your Majesty," he managed, I don't know what to say." He expected disappointment. Instead, Alara smiled, the kind of smile that stories were written about. "That," she replied, "is precisely why you were chosen." Middle, the weight of a crown. The chamber adjourned after the dramatic announcement, and Jalen found himself escorted to a private crystalline terrace overlooking Velyria Prime's floating gardens. There, Queen Alara waited for him, joined by 2 members of her High Council. Jalen bowed awkwardly. "Your Majesty, I'm honored, genuinely, but Earth wasn't expecting." "That is obvious," Alara said with a gentle laugh. "Your diplomat nearly ceased biological function." Jalen rubbed his neck. "Yeah, he does that when stressed." Alara approached him slowly. Her presence was calming, not domineering. She gestured to a pair of living seats, soft pods grown from plant matter that shaped themselves to the sitter. "Commander," she began, "I understand your hesitation. Perhaps you fear loss of autonomy, or that our civilizations are too different. But know this, Velyria does not impose. A consort king shares sovereignty, not submits to it." Jalen sighed. "It's not about sovereignty, it's about responsibility. I'm just a ship commander, a mission leader. I'm not a ruler. I'm not a pawn. Alara finished. He blinked.
Yeah.
Jalen Rourke, she said, lowering her voice. In your records, we saw the decision you made during the Harrow Nebula incident. You evacuated an entire colony platform before saving your own crew. You place lives above politics, above protocol, above accolades. You risked everything. That's just what leaders do, he muttered. Incorrect, Alara replied. That is what you do, and that is why I chose you. Because our universe trembles. Jalen frowned. Trembles? From what? The High Counselor stepped forward, projecting a hologram from his crystalline gauntlet. A swirling mass of dark filaments filled the projection, like a wound in space. The Riftborn, he said gravely. A species not of matter, but of null entropy. They consume the structure of reality. Their expansion has increased by 300% in one cycle. Alara continued. Their corruption approaches our borders. Only the resonant bloodline, the lineage of the royal family, can activate the Parallax shield that protects Velyria. But the shield's harmonics weaken. Our tradition dictates that only a bonded pair of rulers can amplify it. So you need a consort to save your world, Jalen realized quietly. Yes, Alara said, but not merely any consort. One whose neural frequency and empathy resonance align with mine. Our scientists confirmed it with certainty. Yours does. Jalen felt cold. They didn't want him for power. They wanted him for compatibility. A cosmic lock-in key. And if I say no, he asked. Alara's expression didn't harden.
It saddened.
Then Velyria will perish within 3 rotations. We would not force you, but time is not our ally. Later that night, Jalen paced inside the guest chamber provided for him, its walls pulsing with soft celestial luster. Mara sat on a floating chair, analyzing a datapad. You're actually considering it? She asked. I'm considering everything, he replied. This isn't just a marriage proposal. It's a geopolitical cosmic. I don't even know what. Mara snorted. You'd be marrying a 9-foot-tall psychic goddess queen who controls half the Orion expanse. Hard to say no to that. It's not funny, he muttered. I know, she said gently. Look, Jalen, the Parallax shield protects not only Velyria. It stabilizes wormhole corridors humans use too. If it fails, the Riftborn could spill into our region. Earth could be next. So, if I refuse, billions could die. And if you accept, she said carefully, you become the most politically powerful human in known space. But you'd also be tied to an alien empire forever. Jalen rubbed his face. This is insane. Yeah, Mara said, but you've handled insane before. He stared out through the crystalline window toward the drifting cities, where luminous creatures soared between towers. Velyria was beautiful. Alara was brilliant, compassionate, terrifyingly wise. But he had never imagined giving up his life on Earth. Not like this. The court's judgment. The next morning, the royal court assembled again. Hundreds of Valyrians floated or stood in concentric circles around the throne. Alara sat poised, wearing a mantle toned with deep violet, signifying a decision awaited. The Kalroth ambassador, a hulking reptilian brute, hissed in amusement. Human refuses? Delicious. We shall collect Valyria's remains after the Riftborn feast. Admiral Tsevik shot him a glare. Shut your muzzle. Jalen stepped forward. Every gaze locked on him. Alara's face held no expectation, only patience. Commander Jalen Rourke, intoned the herald, you stand before the star throne to deliver your answer. Know that once spoken, tradition binds your words. Jalen inhaled. He looked at Alara. He looked at the court. He looked at the holographic image of the expanding Riftborn rift, eating stars like embers. "Your Majesty," he said clearly, "I am honored by your offer, and I understand what is at stake. But before I answer, I must ask a question." The court murmured. Alienlara inclined her head. "Speak." "If I join with you," he asked, "if I become your consort king, would I be free? Free to act according to my conscience? Free to speak for humanity? Free to disagree with you without fear?" Alienlara rose from her throne. She descended the steps slowly. When she stood before him, she extended a hand. "Jalen Rourke," she said softly but firmly, "a consort is not a prisoner. He is balance, anchor, equal. If you accept, you will never kneel to me again. We will stand side by side. And if ever your heart wishes to depart, Valyrian law grants you the right to step away, without punishment, without dishonor." Jalen's chest tightened. He hadn't expected that. "What of the shield?" he whispered. "If I leave, it collapses." "Another may one day resonate as you do," she answered. "Our hope is not your burden. I will not chain you to my world." Silence swept the chamber. Jalen closed his eyes. Mara's words echoed. Billions could die. Alienlara's compassion stunned him. Her respect. Her trust. He opened his eyes and spoke. "My answer is yes." The chamber exploded with harmonic light and resonant song. The living architecture pulsed in beautiful fractal patterns. Alienlara's mantle brightened with brilliant azure flames of joy. The Kalroth ambassador cursed loudly. Admiral Sevik nearly fell out of his chair. Mara punched the air triumphantly. Queen Alienlara stepped closer. "Then, Jalen Rourke of Earth, you are now Jalen Rourke of the Star Throne." The resplendent drones circled them as a shimmering crown of bioluminescent petals formed above his head, the symbol of a consort accepted, but not yet bonded. But before it could descend, a deafening distortion ripped through the hall. A tear opened in the air. A rift-born entity, 20 feet tall, a mass of shadow tendrils and inverted light, emerged, emitting a reality-warping shriek. Panic erupted. The court scattered. Alienlara shouted, "Shield the commander." Guards threw resonance barriers around Jalen just as the creature hurled a lance of null entropy toward him. The barrier buckled but held. "Targeting me?" Jalen yelled. "I'm not even king yet." "You are the threat they foresaw," Alienlara shouted back. "They strike before the bond is sealed." She unleashed an arc of searing harmonic energy. The Riftborn shrieked, its body fracturing like broken glass, and it dissipated into nothingness. The hall trembled. Alienlara turned to him, shaken but resolute. "There is no more time," she said. "We must perform the bonding today. Ending the bond of worlds." The bonding chamber lay deep within the heart of Valyria's living planet core. The walls pulsed with ancient resonance patterns carved by queens long gone. Alienlara and Jalen stood at the center of a circular dais surrounded by floating crystals. Alienlara extended her hands. "The bond does not bind bodies or ownership. Only harmonics. Only purpose. Only trust." Jalen stepped forward. "Then let's protect our worlds." Their palms touched. A surge of warmth, like every memory, every hope, every fear, flowed between them. He didn't lose himself. He didn't surrender anything. Instead, he expanded. His mind harmonized with hers, their heartbeats syncing, neural frequencies aligning like twin stars orbiting a shared gravity. The crystals ignited. A column of radiant energy blasted upward, through the planet, into the sky, activating the Parallax shield. Across Velyria, cities glowed brighter as the shield amplified 100-fold. The Riftborn tear receded, sealed by the combined resonance of two souls. When the light faded, Jalen felt Aelara's thoughts gently withdraw, leaving only a warm echo. He looked at her. She smiled softly. "It is done. You are consort king." He exhaled with relief. But then the chamber doors burst open. Mara rushed in. "Jalen, Aelara." The Riftborn made a second breach, directly above Earth. Jalen's blood ran cold. Aelara touched his arm. "Our bond strengthens the shield across light years. Together, we can close the breach. But we must act quickly." He nodded. "Then let's go. Earth needs us." Hours later, they stood within the Palace Convergence Nexus, projecting their combined harmonic frequencies across the void. The Riftborn tear above Earth writhed violently, threatening to consume orbiting stations. Aelara's voice resonated in his mind. "Focus on your home, your memories, your connection." Jalen closed his eyes and thought of Earth, sunrise over oceans, wind through trees, laughter of his crew, old streets lit by neon signs, everything he loved and fought for. The resonance grew, the tear shrank, and with a final pulse, it shattered like dark glass. The Earth was safe. Jalen collapsed to his knees, exhausted but alive. Aelara steadied him. "You did it." "We did it," he corrected. Later, back on Velyria, the court held a celebratory procession. Aelara walked beside him, hand in hand. The people of Velyria bowed not in submission, but gratitude. Mara approached with a teasing grin. "So, Your Majesty, how's married life?" Jalen rolled his eyes. "Still getting used to it." Aelara smiled warmly. "He is adapting splendidly." As the celebration continued, Jalen stood on a balcony overlooking the luminous horizon. "You know," he said softly, "I never planned any of this." Aelara stood beside him. "Neither did I," Jalen roared. "Yet fate wove our paths with purpose." He took a deep breath. "What now?" "Now," she said, taking his hand, "we protect our worlds. Together. And perhaps, in time, rewrite the future for all species." Jalen looked out across the stars. He wasn't just a commander anymore. He wasn't just a diplomat. He was the consort king of an empire and partner to a queen whose people now trusted him with their lives. He smiled. "I'm ready." And somewhere far away, where dark stars whispered, the Riftborn stirred in anger at the new force that had risen to oppose them. But Velyria and Earth now had a king and queen bound not by conquest,
but by choice.